Hi, if you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this session, I'd like to talk about the spread of diversity, equity, and inclusion and ESG officers in a lot of the businesses in Australia, but it's increasing almost day by day. A few years ago, you kind of wouldn't see that much of it. Or it wasn't as overt as it is now. Now, as I've mentioned many times before, I have a share in a business, so I end up going out and pressing the flesh and meeting the business contacts, the customers, the clients, and so on. And the amount of sort of straight white males that we encounter is decreasing again by the day. Now, what's causing that? Is there suddenly no straight white males, or they all disappeared into the ether? We've got quite a high immigration rate, but there's only a very small proportion of those people that are qualified at anything, let alone they speak English. So out of somewhere in the vicinity of 400,000 people are coming to Australia. I think it's over the next 12 months, and that's a net migration number. So somewhere in the vicinity of 20,000 people, a little bit less, but around that, have internationally recognised qualifications and bring any skills or capabilities to the table. So it's a very small number, really, in the overall scheme of things. Now it is sort of an unnecessarily large amount at the moment because of the kind of unemployment that Australia has. And where there are shortages, it's only because the jobs pay so little money that people can't afford to live on it. And only those that are able or capable or want to live collectively, 20 people to a 2-bedroom apartment, they're the only ones that can really afford to work those sort of jobs. So given the low income. So the immigration that's been forced on the Western world, and certainly in the case of Australia and Britain and the United States are no different, really. The sort of immigration is illiterate third world peasants that are illiterate in their own language, let alone English, or any other Western world language, French, German, whatever. So anyway, this is borne out by the sort of people that I talk to, where say there's a job for, I don't know, like a technician or a technician's supervisor or something like that. Now these jobs pay 125 to say 150%, maybe a bit more of the average wage. So they're not big paying jobs, but in a recent case, which bears out other examples I found, they were looking, this outfit was wanting to hire a technical supervisor for a department with maybe 20 technicians or something in it, and they got well over 100 applications for that. Now some would have been wishful thinkers and optimists, but that's the feedback I got. Was most of the people who applied were well qualified, and they had a huge pick. Whereas there's a factory, in fact, not that far from where I live, maybe half an hour's drive less. And I was talking to the owner of that business a while back, and they just want to have a general sort of labourer type, factory hand, warehouse fetch and carry flunky, that sort of thing, and they can't get anyone to do it. But the guy insists on only paying the minimum wage. It's not near any major transport hubs and this sort of thing. But they've been looking now, so he claims, for months, and they just can't get any. They're lucky if they get even one application a week, and that's usually from people who have some sort of who are intellectually challenged in some way and would struggle to do the job anyway, as menial as it is. So there's a shortage of people in the super low paid jobs, whether it be in takeout food or whatever. So they're really the people that are being brought in. But this creates an artificial economy that I've mentioned in other videos. Anyway, coming to the sort of the point of this, or the primary point at least of this video, is this spread of diversity and equity, inclusion, and ESG seems to go hand in hand with us seeing fewer straight white males in the places we visit. And it's not that I personally, anyway, don't really care one way or another who's there, but I do have a problem with people that are utterly incompetent and shouldn't have got there. They're only there because of quotas and race gender quotas and that sort of thing. So affirmative action and the like. Now, again, I don't necessarily care about that. I care about how it's making my country, my community, and my society poorer, which in turn will reduce my standard of living overall, and those of my children, that sort of thing. So it's a concern from that perspective. But it also, in terms of the work we do, it slows down the project. Work that we can do in a week is taking us 3 weeks because we have to deal through and with so many incompetent, unqualified people. And that's a problem because we can't necessarily pass on that cost. So it just illustrates the cost to Western society of having all these peasants in here being gifted jobs that they in no way have earned or deserve or are qualified for. It makes things harder for everybody. And in our case, it makes, we just have to move far more slowly. So again, what we can do in a week takes 3 or 4 weeks. Now, in some cases, we can pass on that cost. But in other times, we effectively have to go into a holding pattern multiple times during the course of the project while we wait for some underqualified moron to be able to somehow get there. Now, you've got to deal with these people very carefully. A lot of them are Asian and they take exception. Oh, you think I'm an idiot, do you? And we can't say that. So we have to sort of leave them to it and really just gently, and slowly lead them to the point, because we try and say, look, do this. Hey, don't you tell me what to do. If we try and sort of make the path clear, then, so you think I'm an idiot? Well, fuck you. So it really has to be done with we have to be very circumspect in what we say, and as if we're dealing with a snotty, entitled child, really, and which is in fact what they are. The women more worse than the men. So anyway, we went to one a few days ago, a meeting, and I tried to do this online. I didn't really want to go, but anyway, we weren't the head contractor here, so again, we have to be a little careful and understand the delicacy of the relationships in some of these things. So we went along, reluctant as it was, we went along and tried to make the best of it. Now, we were met outside by a straight white male, probably mid-40s, I suppose, and well, that's a surprise, and it's a pleasant surprise because you don't see it again, less and less. I don't know where all the straight white males are going. Are they just disappearing somewhere? Are just new jobs being created to employ all these brown and black peasants? Or anyway, so the guy meets out, very professional and quite impressive. And he doesn't have to be that good to be impressive these days, because we meet so many and have to deal with so many unimpressive people, unqualified people, incapable people with just low IQ. That even if you sort of take away some people who maybe don't have the training or the background, but they're very committed to doing the job well, and they've got the IQ to sort of get their head around it, and they're really trying hard. You don't even see that. You just see ideological little silly morons running around everywhere that have been indoctrinated to see Nazis all the time. It's insane, and it's making us all poor as a consequence. So we meet this guy, and he seems pretty sort of confident, like he knows his shit, and then we go, oh, this is good, we're going to deal with him. But because of the nature of this project, we were involved in some policy type structuring and how it related to other things. So now, as diversity and equity inclusion has permeated into everything, the cleaner and the car park attendant and and really every job and every function seems to have somehow leads in some road or other back to to diversity, equity, inclusion, which is administered, or typically at least administered, by the HR department. Now, the standard HR operative is is, it's really a sociology, gender studies course with a bit of HR administration thrown in. So they're very much taught that it is their, all straight males are Nazis, and the climate change, the world is a mess because of straight white male Nazis. And these particularly young girls, because nearly all girls in HR, some gay guys, but nearly all girls, they can change the world for better. That they can, on the weekend, they can go out and march for climate change, but during the week at their jobs, they can make sure straight white males don't get hired, and the jobs are given only to black lesbians or marginalised groups, and that will create some sort of imaginary utopia. Now, these young girls are stupid enough to believe this shit, so they're there as like an army of political commissars, and their job is to find a way of not hiring straight white males. Now, some companies still have a semblance of merit for employment. Sure, they might have some quotas, but merit still plays a role. So these girls operating, these young HR girls, they're operating as an undercover secret level of a political commissariat to undermine the intentions of senior management. Senior management may say that they want merit, but if they hire a merit, that means Hitler. So these young girls have to stop that, because when they stop that's this merit thing, they're stopping Hitler. So this makes them good, super versa. And then they go out and do a climate change march on the weekend. I mean, fuck me, how virtuous can you get, really? So this comes up indirectly in this meeting. I've heard this a few times before now, where when a white guy applies, assuming a straight white male applies for a job, whether it be sweeping the floor or as executive vice president or something, typically these days the first sort of point when where the CVs arrive is going to be a young HR, but this is something that's delegated to young HR. So she'll run the word match software and phrase match and that sort of thing, and up will pop X amount. So say in round numbers, 100 people apply for the gig, and she runs the word match software, and 40 of them come up. Now she goes through those and goes, shit, they're all straight white males from the looks of it. So she'll just rejig the word match software so she can get some black lesbians into the group. Now, having done that, she's already undermined and corrupted the purpose of the senior management of the company. They don't know it, though. Maybe the HR manager, who'll be another activist female, will know. But then, the girl, it's all girls together here, and they're just two political commissars socially engineering the world. Because again, are they doing something wrong? Of course not. They're stopping Nazis, Hitler. So they get some black lesbians and brown people and so on in there, because they're all straight white. If it's merit, it's all straight white males, and you can't have that, because again, that's Nazis. So they've also got now into there's agencies, including recruitment type software and backroom, they call it backroom research and things like that, where they'll scour the internet. So say the applicant for the gig is Billy Bob Smith. So they'll scour the internet to find and discover all of Billy Bob's social media posts and his presence on social media. It could be Facebook or Twitter. It could be anything, just social media, including a lot of the bigger websites that handle things like gaming and so on. So they'll do a big search on that and see if they can pull up any posts that Billy Bob's made. And then there's a word match on these posts to say, well, we've checked on Billy Bob's posts, and there's a few out there. I don't know. He's probably sympathetic to Hitler, Nazis, and he said that we found a post here where he said that mass migration is happening too quickly and it should be slowed down. I mean, clearly a Nazi, clearly a fucking Nazi, if not Hitler himself. So that then goes to the HR department, this report, and so they can disqualify straight white male applicants or white applicants, depending on what their intentions at the moment are, but particularly straight white. So this is a way of disqualifying high quality straight white male applicants. So the guy may be a million years old, but if you can find a post he made when he was 12 years old, that comments about it. Say, that's it, Nazi, disqualified. So they've got this process of filtering that's not mentioned in their on the job boards or something like that. I mean, if they had see, I don't mind if the advert says, look, we're gonna rigorously sift through the social media posts of all straight white males in an effort to disqualify them because we think they might be Nazis, and even if they're not, we can say that, that sort of thing. And they declared that, then people could sue them maybe, or you could look at it, oh fuck, I don't want to work at this place or that place. That's this or that policy, but they don't. It's all done secretly without the knowledge or consent of the applicant. Now, on top of that, there's a certain rigor that applies to straight white males in terms of checking the background, the effort and the time that's put into rigorously checking a white person's background for the sole purpose of finding anything that can be used to disqualify them. But there's no such equivalent or no background checking on non-straight white males. There's also other things go for straight white males being convicted of any crime. Then that's it, disqualification. But if a black person is, or again, some supposedly marginalised group, then that's not a disqualification, and the list goes on. So anyway, we this guy meets us outside. We go inside and into the meeting again. HR and diversity and so on is permeating all these extra areas of the business that they didn't even a few years ago. Now we're finding that when we attend a meeting, it's rare that the HR director isn't there or the diversity director isn't there, which we find surprising. Anyway, we go into the room, and the guy, again, pleasant, confident, even charming, knows what he's doing. But as soon as the HR woman comes into the office, comes into the room that we're in for the meeting, she'd be, I don't know, about 30, I guess. He turned into this groveling mess of nerves. I mean, he did everything except throw himself on the floor and kiss her feet. And she came into the room and regarded us with, you'd go probably beyond disdain. Now, bear in mind that we're all sort of in our 50s, late 50s, early 60s, and we're all white and all straight, and this sort of thing. So straight away it was flashing across it, Nazis, Hitler. So and the look on her face pretty much sort of said it all. And it wasn't just a look of disdain; it was a look of abject insecurity as well. She knew she was way out of her depth, straight away. But the way she could sort of maintain supremacy in the room was to say, well, hey, you're all Nazis, so I'm morally superior to you by a gazillion miles, and you're morally inferior to me. And that's all that matters here. We're talking about ideology, and so don't give me your competence, don't give me your professionalism, don't give me your training, don't give me all this sort of stuff. You guys arrive on time, and that alone makes you Nazis. So she came in, and this white guy again, mid 40s or so, professional, capable guy, and he's groveling to her, absolutely groveling, and he's determined to show just how much of a groveler he is, and that makes the smirk of satisfaction on her face of I can make a straight white male, double my age, grovel his ass off, and look how powerful and important I am. I mean, like if that was and the other way around, if someone was groveling out to me, I would not allow it to happen. They'd be 2 or 3 seconds into the grovel, and hey, stop. We're professionals here. I would not allow it. And just watching her getting off on it, and how much it sort of pleased her to see him groveling was a very unpleasant spectacle. And I didn't think much of him for it. I'm sure he's got bills to pay, but he does. He's got bills to pay. He's got kids to put through college. Ironically, he's got a daughter studying sociology, and he's working his ass off to pay for it. And there's a whole generation of kids being taught to hate daddy because he's a Nazi. He's paying for his daughter to hate him. I mean, for goodness sakes, and suffering all sorts of abusive carry on, displacement, employment in order to pay for his daughter to hate him. I mean, fuck. So anyway, it came up about this this thing about filtering out straight white males in order to create equity. So if the company doesn't have a direct equity program, and they said, we'll hire the best person, and if we can't hire a competent white person, then we'll give it to the black lesbian, that type of thing. So, and that's not good enough for these radical activists that have been radicalized through the high school and college and NGOs. That's not good enough. You have to stop if you stop straight white males from being hired, you are stopping Hitler. It's that straightforward. And so that's not good enough for them. So they run this sort of fifth column, this undercover sabotage operation to disqualify white males. And now, the first thing was doing this going back over the social media post, but there's now a new dimension. I heard this before and I thought it was a one-off, so I didn't even think about it. But one of the HR flunkies came in with this 30-year-old HR woman who I think is billed as the HR director or something. So this other younger one was maybe, I don't know, 23, 24, very much sucking up to the HR manager, but it wasn't a suck up in the way and a grovel the way that the white guy was doing it. It was more, you're so wonderful because you're fighting the Nazis, and you're so wonderful because of that. So I'm in awe of you being such a great Nazi fighter, stopping these straight white males and letting me also help you and stop them. It was more that sort of girls together type shit. Now the thing that came out that they mentioned, and you've got to be really careful here, because if I say something, or any of us say something that might suggest that we disapprove of what they're doing, or think that it's counterproductive or destructive or illegal, which it is, then we too will then be designated as Hitler. So we have to be a little bit cautious, and we don't want to get into a situation where they're walking around watching us. Hey, you look sideways, you damn fucking Nazi, racist, misogynist, Hitler. And we don't have to deal with that sort of stuff. That sort of crap's been tried us a few times, and I'm quite open. Okay, let's take it into court, which increasingly will be a dangerous game, because you've got a very good chance now that the judge or the magistrate that's hearing the case will also be, from the same NGO activist outfit, the same college as the fucking HR lab, and they'll all be, there'll be like a cabal there too, and they're all fighting Nazis. That's how corrupted the ICE system's become now. Whether hiring and recruitment or in courts. But the next layer they'd gone to was they've drawn some ideological assumptions. So let's suppose they do a search on Billy Bob Smith through the on the online, any online postings and activity online, and they don't find anything. Then they are automatically then by default declaring that Billy Bob must be a Nazi, because he's using other names, and instead of using his name and putting something on Facebook, for example, he's using some name and some handle, and that's how we can't find him. So what we have to do is we have to say, well, look what he's done. I mean, he's a damn Nazi. I mean, it's that simple. Because he's hiding what he's saying, he therefore must be a Nazi. He must be Hitler himself. So we can disqualify him. So this is an interesting thing. Now, there's quite a few people I know that don't have an online presence, and maybe they did in some gaming site years ago, but they don't post on Twitter or on Facebook or anything like that. But they're in a situation now if they at one of these places, they apply for a job, then some crazy fanatic ideological fucking dunce is going to say, well, we couldn't find anything on Billy Bob, and so therefore we can say that he's hiding it, and if he's hiding it, he must be Hitler. So we can disqualify him, and this is fucking astonishing. I wonder if that organization, the CEO, or whatever, knew about it, whether or not they would, really care. And they're hiring these sort of radical fanatics to sit in HR and diversity departments. So given they're hiring those sort of people, then one assumes that in some sense they must accept the ideological fanaticism and the activism that goes with it. Now, I don't care if these people hold certain views, but they they loyally serve the company, its goals and objectives, and objectively hire and recruit. I don't care. They have whatever views they want, but they're bringing these activist views into the workplace. And it's no longer a fantasy that they can fantasize by walking along the street waving placards. They're actually doing it in the place of employment. Again, a fifth column. I mean, the subterfuge, for fuck's sake, is insane. So these are things that again that we're seeing more and more, and that sort of shocked me, that this casual declaration, if you can't find social media post, then automatically means these people are Hitler. I mean, fuck me. But they're not applying this onerous layer of ideological examination to anyone else. It's only straight white males are copying it, and the only purpose of it is to find an excuse, some reason, anything to disqualify their application. That's the purpose of it, and that's a great tragedy for all of us, Western society included. You've been a Tassos today, your Pushback Channel. Thank you for listening.